Hey, friends, and welcome to the 10-Minute Book Talk, where three best-selling authors chat with you about all things books for 10 short, sweet minutes. We have an incredibly special event today, and as you note, there are only three of us here. That is because it is Rachel Linden's launch week for The Secret of Orange Blossom Cake. And I'm going to tell you, she's going to give you the spiel in a moment, but this is a yummy book in all aspects. Marie and I have read it before. I got to tell you, it is sumptuous. So, okay, no more from me. So, Rachel, tell us about your sumptuous, delicious story. Perfect for
My
fall.
delicious secret of orange blossom cake is about Jules, who is a social media chef. She has a vintage cooking show on Instagram. And when disaster, both personal and professional, strikes, she heads back to Italy to try to save her career. She has a plan which quickly goes awry, and that is when the fun begins. So, at its heart, this is a novel set in beautiful Italy about one wonderful summer. And it is about a magical cookbook, three generations of strong women, a lost recipe that can show you the happiest moment of your life. And of course, because I love love, there is a side, a secondary storyline with the second chance romance, the handsome olive farmer next door, who broke her heart at 16 and is now all grown up, ready to be helpful and within arm's reach.
Love that he's so ready to be helpful.
Ready
And
to be helpful.
okay, so it's kind of a marketing term to talk about hooks, but the reason they're called hooks is because they take the reader and they kind of snag them and pull them right in. And I want you to give readers a little bit about yours, because I got to tell you, there's so many that you just feel again and again enveloped in this beautiful story. So give us a little bit about those wonderful little hooks that you've got in here.
Well, I think, this is going to be very similar in feel to my other books. There's yummy food, but this time it's a lot of very delicious Italian food. There's magical realism, and this time it's magical realism related to a magical cookbook that only shows you one recipe at a time. It's the recipe you need most in your life at that moment. And then there is, romance, because who doesn't want a romance? Just makes me happy, and I love to put it in there. I love love. And then there's a happy, hopeful ending. So this
Mhm.
book, as I've been thinking about, I'm like, it feels like you get to take a wonderful magical trip to Italy, but it also feels like a warm hug from your nana. And I think at this time of life, and in this time, we're in a world where hard things are happening, and life can feel very heavy. And I think this fall is the perfect time to have a book that just kind of envelops you in a warm hug and allows you to go to Italy and vicariously eat delicious things.
Sounds pretty good.
Right? There's nothing not to love about
I
this.
know.
So I had the joy of reading this early, as did Catherine, and I loved it. I've enjoyed all your work, but I really connected with this book. I think it might be my favorite of all the
Oh,
wonderful books you've written. I really do. And I actually wrote to you and I was like, have you like lived in Italy? Because I've never been to Italy and it's on my list, but I felt like that's where you took me. So tell me a little more about the setting and how your research and because I felt like I was there. So how did you make that magical thing happen?
there are a couple ways I made it happen. One, I lived in Hungary for 6 years, and that is just a 6 hour drive from Venice. So we would vacation in Italy quite frequently because it's just to get in the car and hop over the border, and there you are. So I've spent quite a bit of time in Italy, and I absolutely love Italy. I have a really special connection to this book, and it makes me really happy that you said it's your favorite. It actually is. You're not supposed to have favorites, just like with children, but as authors, we know we do have favorites. This one is tied for first in my heart with Magic of Lemon Drop Pie. I love it. And one of the reasons is that my dad's family is from Northern Italy. And so part of this book was a reconnection with my family roots. And the first time I set foot in Italy, my entire body just relaxed. And I took this deep breath, and there was a deep sense of homecoming and resonance. And I feel that every time I'm in Italy, there's something kind of, it's in the blood. And so it was such a joy to get to set a book. Usually I set books in the Pacific Northwest where I live, and I absolutely love it and have the same deep sense of resonance. But there's something about Italy. It was just a complete treat to write this book because it felt like a sort of homecoming. And then I got the privilege also of spending a few days there researching. I took my husband, he did all the driving, I did all the eating. and we stayed on, it's a perfect combination. And by research, I mean wandering around small, charming towns and eating things. That is the research. So we did olive oil tastings, we did wine tastings. We stayed in an agriturismo, which is like a little homestay in an olive grove. And so we're tasting, sitting under the olive trees, tasting their homemade olive oil. And I wandered around and found the house that was the inspiration for the olive farm. And it was just utter, and then so much gelato. And so it was utterly delightful to really soak that in. We were there at a beautiful time of year. I think every time of year there is beautiful, but I really wanted to make this book feel like people got to take a vacation to Italy. And I actually have a friend who was the Italian translator for The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie. And she is a novelist and a playwright. And she read the book she's Italian. She read the book for accuracy, corrected my terrible Italian, and also really read it for like cultural accuracy with Italian culture and social and family dynamics. So she just felt like it rang really true to life, which was a huge compliment to me. So I really feel like I loved what I wrote, and I captured a moment that I hope transports readers to a really special place and lets them go to Italy too.
Love that.
Well, and I just want to bring up something you told us earlier that I thought was like a huge compliment, that this woman who lives in Italy had said, "Thank you for making it the real Italy and not the tourist version of Italy."
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And it's
it
the Italy
really,
that like
there's
is
a
the
great
lived in
authenticity.
Italy.
Yeah,
It
love
feels
that.
like the Italy where people live and have family roots instead of, the Italy you just see in a travel brochure, basically. It's the real Italy, as I understand it.
That kind of brings up what my next question is, because this is a book that, yes, you have all these yummy things, but it's a real story. These characters are going through life, and they're going through change, and they're going through pain and loss, and you really deal with that beautifully. And I want to talk about some of those deeper themes, because you have handled them with such delicacy and authenticity, and then that is what allows readers to walk away with something. That is, what rings true to the reader experience. And so tell us a little about that and what you hope readers will pull from it.
Well, my chief goal in writing a story, my dearest hope, is that every reader walks away with a little nugget from the story that they can put in their pocket and take back into their own lives. And this story, I really resonate with it because it's about anxiety, it's about grief, it's about loss, and it's about fear, and how fear holds us back from taking courageous risks, the right risks for the right hard things in life. So I think as I wrote this story, it resonated with my experience, and I think it'll resonate with a lot of other people, that we often let fear hold us back, fear of loss, fear of grief, fear of pain, that a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear can actually trap us from living the life that we really want, the life that is going to be most purposeful and meaningful, but a life that you have to courageously risk for. And so that's what I'm hoping people walk away with. I hope they walk away with a little nugget of hope and courage in their pocket from reading Jules' story and getting spend time there.
Oh, I love that.
I do too. And you know what? I think it's going to be a wish that is fulfilled, because that's certainly how I felt. We loved it. We just loved it.
Yeah,
so, you know what? This is going to be a big shock to you, but I have a question to ask that we ask all readers or all guests here on the 10-minute book talk. It's prepare yourself, because it's going to be a shock. Rachel Linden, what is bringing you joy today?
Marie, we just got a car that is a new to us car. And we were driving around a little 2008 Acura that I bought with my first advance from my first book, which is the sweetest thing. It has been so faithful, but we have growing children and they're literally outgrowing the car. Like their legs are outgrowing the space. So we just went to a bigger car, and I don't know how to operate it, but it's very fun to drive. And we're still figuring out all the buttons, because things from 2008, like things are very fancy now. There are panels and there are buttons, everything's electronic. So I dropped my kids off at school yesterday. They couldn't figure out how to get out of the car. None of us could. They're trying the handles and we're like, this is very cool, but you have to get out. And they're like, we can't get out. I had to get out and open the door like a chauffeur to usher them out. But that is bringing me joy that I have a car that's not new to us, but it's fun to drive, and it's dependable, and it has more space for us to grow as a family, and it's kind of fancy. And now I got to figure out how it works.
Awesome. Love that. Well, readers, as Rachel goes and figures out how to drive her car, you all enjoy. Hold it up again, please. Go out and grab this book, The Secret of Orange Blossom Cake. You are going to love that immersive, yummy reading experience. And then next week, join us again for another 10-minute book talk. Thanks, everybody.
See you
Bye-bye.
then. Bye.